Everybody, welcome to this series of conservation psychology. I'm going to do 6 quick webinars and start to explain to you a little bit about what conservation psychology is all about. And we're going to start at the highest level. We're just going to start looking at psychology itself, and gradually we will drill down to look at conservation psychology a little bit more. I'm so excited because I've just been finished studying this, and it's just an amazing course and an amazing area of study. So I really wanted to share it with you. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share some slides. There is a lot of words on these slides, so just bear with me, read along, and I will try and make it as interesting as possible for you. So we are kicking off with Introduction to Conservation Psychology. My name is Josh O'Neill. I'm the founder of the Litter Club. Now, you may not know the Litter Club or what it is. We're based in Singapore and Malaysia, and we do a lot of beach cleanups, community gardening, community cleanups, river cleanups, anything that's kind of out there in amongst nature and getting people to be enthusiastic about looking after their planet. Now, one of the reasons that I did conservation psychology was because I was continually asking the question, why do people litter? And it was because they're lazy and they're not educated and they're not all of these things. And I thought there really has to be something more to this. So I did some studies, I did some professional studies on conservation psychology, and that's why I want to share this with you. So I'm a member of the American Psychological Association, specifically Division 34, and that is Society for Environmental Population and Conservation Psychology. I'm a certified green project manager and a certified change management professional. I'm also a dive instructor, so I do cleanups under the ocean as well. And I'm also a Toastmaster, which is one of the reasons that I'm doing this as well, to be able to share with you. So why do I do this? I do this to inspire others to change their conservational behavior. I want people to be more interested and more caring about their planet. And there has to be better ways of doing it than just showing pictures of plastic all the time. And that's what we're going to look at over the next few weeks. So let's have a look at what conservation psychology is. So let's start at the highest level of psychology itself. So psychology is just the study of behavior. Now that's the highest level. It's a scientific, it's a science, and it's the scientific study of behavior and how we do it. Now with sociology, that's a systematic study of human behavior in groups. So that's from a sociologist's point of view, how do groups impact each other, and how does that affect how they interact and how they work together? If you look at environmental psychology, that's a study of interplay between individuals and their surroundings. Now, this can be any kind of surroundings, and it's looking purely from an individual point of view, not a group, and at their surroundings. And this can be environment, built-up environment, or natural environment, etc. If we look at ecology, it's a branch of biology focused on the relationships between organisms and their environment. So this is now coming back into a relationship type study, and how from a biological point of view. So this is not from a psychological point of view. Environmental science itself is a branch of biology that deals with the effects of the physical, chemical, and biological components of an environment on the living organism within it. So this is how we are affected, and we can think of plastic, etc. How we are affected by the physical. What does it do? We don't want to go swimming amongst it. It holds bugs, etc. The chemical, the compounds that are made up, and how that interacts with our environment and eventually enters our own ecosystem, and their biological components as well. So how it affects plant and other biological organisms. Then we move to conservation biology. So you can see this is gradually moving its way down to our specific part that we study. Conservation biology is a branch of biology that deals with the effects of humans on the environment, on the environment, and with conservation of biological diversity. So conservation biology, our effect on environment, what we do, and how we are destroying it, maybe, or how we are preserving it. And then the conservation of that biological diversity. So we can think of impact like seagrass, etc. So we would do conservation biology, replanting of seagrass, improving sea meadows, etc. So that's understanding our impact on the environment, and then or not. It could be in the case of in Phuket, the seagrass has been quite decimated due to tsunami. So that's not a human impact. That's a meteorological impact. So, but now how can humans ensure that we can replant and conserve that ecology? And then conservation psychology, which is what we're looking at studying here, the study of reciprocal relationship between individuals and the natural environment. So reciprocal, how that works backwards and forwards rather than how we impact, how that works backwards and forwards, how it impacts us and how we impact it. Natural environment, not built up environments. So we're not talking about cities, we're talking about our natural environment and nature. So the cornerstone of sustainability itself, after we go through all of this, is behavioral change. And that's what we're looking at achieving through conservation psychology. And how do we do that? We do that through investments, getting people to buy green or carbon offsets, etc. Policies, reducing the amount of single-use plastic that's available to people to start off with. Technology, how we utilize tech for good to be able to change that behavior. And the Litter Club has their own mobile app, which we use to enter data into. And then volunteer action as well, which is what the space we really work in and the space that I concentrate when it comes to conservation psychology. So what the world faces today, what the world needs is love, I think. But what we've got is population growth to the extent where we are suffering from overconsumption. So our population growth is still too high to be able to consume responsibly and make sure that we have enough left over. In fact, we go into deficit in what we consume. So we have overconsumption, and of course we have global climate change, which is a massive impact on what is happening to us at the moment. We have a huge rate of species extinction, and we have thousands becoming extinct in a very short period of time, compared to, if we look at over a long period of time, a very minimal number of species going extinct. Over the last kind of couple of hundred years, it has accelerated completely. Of course, we have pollution, and this a lot comes from the carbon fuels that we have, and deforestation, so cutting down our trees, and again, that impacts our carbon, which goes back to our global climate change, etc. And of course, overuse of non-renewable energy. And non-renewable energy, we're talking about oil and gas and carbon-based energy products. So these are some of the issues that we face today, and working all of our way down. We will do over the next 6 weeks from psychology all the way down to conservation psychology, and how we can utilize specifically conservation psychology to make a difference to what the world faces today. So let's have a little simple example of conservation psychology. So here you can see what I'd like to call the infrastructure of convenience. Now, you may, if you've ever been to Disneyland, recognize the rubbish bins that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. Now, these rubbish bins are designed specifically to blend in with the environment at Disneyland, or stand out so that people will actually take photos with them. But the example here, as you can see on the left, somebody scraping their food into their rubbish bin. Now, in our homes, we generally have our rubbish bins and our trash bins very close to where we're working. So we'll have one in the kitchen, maybe one in the bathroom, somewhere where we typically make litter, we will have a bin close to it. Why? Because it's convenient. We know where our bins are outside, and then we know where to place them on the street, etc. So all of this is convenient. We know when to do it, etc. Now, if I went into your home and I moved the rubbish bins around, put one of your rubbish bins from the kitchen into the bedroom, that would remove the convenience. If it was not allowed to be moved back into the kitchen, then you would probably start to collect litter in the kitchen until you are ready to take that rubbish to the bedroom or wherever the bin has been placed. So it makes it inconvenient. Now, to give you an example, Walt Disney himself actually did some research in the sense of how far people would need to travel before they actually couldn't find a bin and they would need to drop their litter. Now, he did it a couple of ways. There's a couple of stories around this. One, he took all the rubbish bins out of Main Street. He gave people sweets, etc., as they arrived at the park. And then he watched basically how long it took before people started to throw that litter on the ground because they couldn't find a bin. Another story was that he bought a hot dog at the stand, and it took him around about 30 feet or 10 meters to be able to consume that hot dog. And then from there, that's where he looked around to throw litter. So if you do go to Disneyland anywhere in the world, you will find that a bin will be nowhere more than 10 meters away from you, wherever you are on the park. And this is all about convenience. Now, when we walk out of our front yard and close that gate, we don't know where bins are. We don't have the luxury of knowing that a bin is right there when we need it. So we end up with rubbish in our car. We end up with rubbish after our lunch, the park, etc. And there's no bin inside, or it's not convenient for us to walk in the direction where the bin is. This means that we have the tendency then to go, I don't want to go there because it's too far away. I don't know where a bin is, so I will just leave it where it is, or I'll just drop it on the side of the road because it's only a justification then of a small amount. Somebody else has already done it, etc. So what we're looking at is a lot of the issues when it comes to litter is actually around the infrastructure of convenience and making things convenient. So we need to, I guess, take our kitchen outside and put it in our world. If we do that, then we will start finding that we reduce a lot more of our litter. So Walt Disney, you'll find if you go to Walt Disney Park that you will not see any litter around because people like putting stuff in their bins. People like to do the right thing. It purely comes down to ensuring that we have an infrastructure in place that provides the convenience that people need. So that gives you a little bit of an idea as to an example of what conservation psychology can do. This is just a quick overview of psychology all the way down. So when do you need, why do you need conservation psychology in your organization, etc.? And if you're a volunteer organization, we can assist in helping to increase your engagement, increase your reach, get more volunteers, keep them happier, keep them coming back longer, and help to change their behaviors. SMEs might be looking at CSRs and your green policy development, your employee client events, how can we engage more? The Litter Club, again, can help you out on that one. You might be head of sustainability and you need assistance with ESG development or compliance or engagement and notoriety. How can we show that we are truly green and doing the right thing? Or you might have some existing sustainability projects around, I can help with the P5 analysis, product process, people, planet, and prosperity. So it gives you a start as to psychology and how psychology works at that level. And we will drill down over the next few weeks with some more specifics in regards to that. So this week we've done Introduction to Psychology. Next week's going to be Understanding Social Psychology and Attitudes. That's quite a fun course. After that, Behavioral Genetics, Overcoming Barriers, Recycling Your Waste, and then being able to consume sustainably. So I hope that you've enjoyed your time with me. I certainly loved having you here. And if you want any more information, please feel free to message me through YouTube or Facebook, or here at josh@thelitterclub.org, or you can WhatsApp me anytime on my mobile number, +66 966 396 252. Thank you so much for your time. Take care and be safe.